Hey Bridget, I hope everything is well with you. It is 8:07 and I'm just sending this voice message. Um I'm so tired. I feel like every day is a blur because I just have to continue to think about the next task and the next task and the next task, and I just feel like so many people want so much of me. Michael, do this, Michael, do that. I get so pissed off when my fucking phone rings. It's ridiculous. It pissed me off so much. I'm just tired. But I will say, Bridget, I'm also pissed off that this is just prolonging me completing this fucking degree. I have 3 semesters every year, and it just seems like it's gonna take another 4 years or something to complete everything. Because I can't do 3 classes at once. I can't be full time. I can barely be part time. And it's just annoying. And it's so upsetting. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh my god. I can't keep crying to you about this. I don't wanna keep crying. Everything is something. It's always something. I just feel like I have to continue to keep working. It's just another thing on my plate. Another thing. And 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 I'm tired.
Peace fam, it's Mike Lee here, and I have some explaining to do. If you can see on the title, I am sharing that I no longer am pursuing my master's degree. I dropped out of grad school, y'all. It is, today is month 3 of dropping out. And it's so crazy and so great that, it's a beautiful day, and I decide that I'm going to speak about this on National Day of Rest for Black Women, because this has been one of the most pivotal decisions that I decided to make. I needed to make in order to save my life and take care of myself. And I just wanted to share my grad school journey and what made me want to make this decision, and also life after, what's it looking like, what do I want to do, and everything in between. Alright, so let me share a little bit about my academic background and why I even decided to go to grad school in the first place. So I have my undergraduate degree in print and online journalism from Howard University, and it was that experience, that just being in college, that made me explore so many different aspects of myself. I was a minor in photography, and that's when I started blogging. I initially thought that I would be the editor-in-chief of Essence. However, in the journalism, as I was doing classes, I realized that type of life isn't for me, but I still like to share a positive message, making sure people know and give them the tools and the resources through news in any way, shape, or form to help them navigate their life and adapt to the world around them. And so that's why I still work in communications. I really like what I do in that realm. And that's actually also why I started blogging. Anywho, but it was in college that I explored food and wellness, in a holistic way. I became a vegan my sophomore year in college, and through trying to learn how to veganize the meals that I hold dear, as well as exploring other ways of food, it made me tap into wellness in myself, and spiritual wellness, mental wellness, but most first and foremost, like physical. I will say I feel like I was always like a hippie child, but college I definitely explored that side, and yeah, it definitely has continued to be a part of me to this day. Anyways, yeah. So through that, I thought about life after school, and I loved food so much that I wanted to be in nutrition and learn about holistic health, and learn about nutrition, and even dive into that industry, dive into the food industry, and yeah, just do like a whole career pivot, and the school that I wanted to go to, and I researched about, based off of me wanting to be a nutritionist. I thought about the dietitian route, but I didn't want to back to undergrad to get like a science and biology, and like it just seemed like a harder and more longer step, especially when I didn't really want to be much of a clinician. But anyways, so this I decided that I wanted to be a CNS, which is I think certified nutrition specialist. And the school I wanted to go to, I wanted to get my master's degree at the Maryland University of Integrative Health. I learned about this school due to just being a part of the Black vegan community in DC. I remember interning for a raw vegan blogger, and she was actually doing the program I was interested in. And then throughout my life, for many years, even after school, I encountered some folks that went to the school and always like praised it. In 2019, when I came back home after being and living in Mexico, in 2020, like I dealt with the breakup and grieving that, and grieving, the pandemic was happening, and grieving like the many dreams and paths that I wanted to take. I kept pushing grad school because of the trauma I dealt with undergrad. So I kept wondering if I should do it. But through depression and wanting to give myself a chance, I decided that I would apply. And I applied in fall of 2020. And I got in. And I started spring in 2021. I was so eager, so excited. A lot of things in my life was just shitty at that time. I was unemployed, underemployed during the pandemic, grieving a breakup, feeling not good about myself, depressed, and getting accepted to grad school and starting my first semester as someone pursuing a master's in clinical nutrition and integrative health. My concentration was herbalism, and even a few years, like a year or two afterwards, I wanted and signed up to get my post-baccalaureate certificate in culinary health and healing. I was so excited. I really did well. I really, really did well. Juggling. I started my new job. It was a remote position, and the school is remote as well. And I was staying at my mother's house, and I was able to juggle. It was hard work, but juggle my physiology and anatomy class with my new job as a comms associate for a farmers market, nonprofit organization. Things were great. I would take trips to go to, once I got my car, I took trips to go to Maryland to take my cooking labs in person. I was really moving through it, but as as my paid jobs got more demanding, um, it was very hard to juggle the two. As I was passing my classes and moving to harder and harder classes, moving into classes that required more reading time, more studying time, it just got extremely, extremely unbearable for me. I would have burnout. It started once a year, then it was twice a year, then it became every quarter, then it became every couple of weeks. I would constantly have anxiety of dropping the ball at school, dropping the ball at work, and I was just so busy. Last year, it came to a head because I moved out here. I moved to Philadelphia. I was back on my own. And, I have to juggle a full-time job, a part-time grad school, even though it felt very, very full-time. I had a part-time schedule. And now navigating more bills, navigating moving into a new environment, living by myself again. Trying to build community, trying to make friends here so I don't feel alone. And there was just too much things on my plate. On top of school and work, I joined a youth young professionals group. I went, of course, had some time of rest. If I could squeeze it, I built new relationships, tried to date, like all these things. I thought I was moving through the best that I can, but in the last fall, I struggled. It was in November. I went to cooking lab, went down to Maryland to take my cooking lab in person. It was my last cooking lab. I was moving through it, but I also had another class, and my cooking lab had an assignment, and I was stressed out about that and trying to complete the assignment for my other two classes. Actually, I had two classes. I got sick towards the end of that trip, and then the election results, really, I grieved based off of that, and I got sick again. And I got sick again like 2 weeks later. I felt so behind. It was like a series of, ailments that I was having. My womb, I had like really bad womb issues, maybe TMI, but I was having a period. I was having frequent periods, like every other week. My period would come. Just dealing with fatigue, pains and aches, dizziness because I was not eating, just trying to be in the zone. Mentally, just feeling anxious and worried constantly, so tired. And even when I have good sleep, I'm still tired. I fell behind. And my fall semester, I passed my cooking lab, but I had to drop the last two classes. And I said to myself, you know what? I have ADHD. I'm currently unmedicated. I was diagnosed in 2019. let me go back and get medication. Let me take some time. I, dropping out of the classes allowed me more space in my time to rest and also get ready. It was very busy time at my job, and I wanted to get ready and, you know, for the break, because my job had a winter break and I had a lot of PTO, so I extended my own winter break. And yeah, everything was great until I found out towards the beginning of my break that due to me dropping those two classes, my following semester, the spring semester, I was up for financial aid suspension due to the fact that I did not meet the minimum requirements of passing those two classes. So I didn't meet the part-time requirements for FAFSA and for financial aid. And to be honest, I can't go to school without financial aid. Um, I was so scared. I was worried. I felt I had to do an appeal. And the appeal, they were like, you have a week to do it and you have to have evidence. But the Tuesday that I received the email notice was a week later would be Christmas Eve. So the school would be closed. The offices were already closing up. And even to just get evidence, things were closing up. I also want to say that before the fall semester, I did sign up and received accommodation. So I definitely did go that route and was receiving disability accommodations. But even given that and the fact that I was sick, I wasn't able to catch up even with the accommodations. Now going back to it. I did my appeal, but towards the end of my winter break, towards, the upcoming spring semester, it was a week before school was going to start over. And a week before work was also, I was going to get back to work. And I woke up with such anxiety. I woke up with so much anxiety. My body was trembling at the thought of going back into the rat race after my winter break. Yes, I rested. I watched movies. I colored. I slept in. I made my tea blend. I vlogged. Yeah. So that morning, I felt filled with anxiety. In fact, I did submit my appeal, and I kept wondering, what if it would be a good thing if they just didn't accept me, that my appeal got denied. I can't do grad school, and it would give me some time to figure it out. I realized that Monday that maybe I do need a break. And I looked to see if possible I can do another voluntary break in enrollment. I did a voluntary break in enrollment before, between spring of 2023 and spring of 2023? No, fall of 2022. My bad. All the way to fall of 2023. And the reason was due to me getting gastric bypass surgery and starting a new job and everything. I did not want to, I wanted to be able to heal and not have to focus on healing, school, and this new job. And that really helped me rest. I was able to get prepared, and once I got back to school and got back to the swing of things, it was easy to be able to navigate my new job with school, given the fact that I had a few months at the new job. Um, yeah, so at that time, Maryland University of Integrative Health, aka MUIH, was a standalone university, but um, later on, especially starting last year, they got acquired by Notre Dame, University of Maryland, and you know, shifting into that school, we they changed the Notre Dame's rules, and at MUIH, a voluntary break in enrollment could be up to a year. And, unfortunately for Notre Dame, it's up to roughly 5 months. And that just did not feel good to me. It felt like it would feel like a ticking time bomb. Even just the process of having a voluntary break in enrollment seemed more difficult and very, new to me compared to um, MUIHs. And with the whole acquiring the university and transferring things, the offices was very finicky. They're just going through a transitional time, and it was just messing everybody up. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, so I I decided, you know what? After such prayer, I thought about it. I prayed about it. Um, I went on Twitter. No, not Twitter. I went on Threads. And a lot of people supported me. I asked people on Threads, any grad school dropouts, your experience of what made you make the decision and blah blah blah. And some people responded that fit that criteria, and a lot of people just gave support. Um, and yeah, but it was through prayer one time where I received a spiritual download, and it was like spirit, my guides, my ancestors was just like, you started to do grad school. You wanted to get your master's degree in nutrition, do holistic wellness and culinary, work and food, um, because you wanted to have a home where your loved ones, your community members could come and know that they can have not only good company, but good food, nourishing food, and a space where their whole body, mind, body, and soul is loved up, is treated well. You wanted to help your community to learn the tools and the resources for them to take care of themselves better, to have more harmony with their bodies, to be able to ease their minds. Um, yeah, I through that spiritual download, the message was clear that I needed to understand and remember the reason why I did this. I think as I got into grad school and being a part of academia and having it a part of my identity, because I was so proud of myself for going for my dreams. Like MUIH was my dream school. I was learning the content, and I was learning and building skills and gaining expertise in the topics and the things that I wanted to learn, and I also made it encompass it my jobs. I intentionally chose the work that I do in the industries and that I do, because I wanted to learn. I first started out working for a nonprofit organizations that served farmers markets, and now I work for a nonprofit organizations that serve Black farmers. I wanted to learn about land stewardship. I was encompassing myself into the work and the topics and the the information that I wanted to share, to be an expert in, and to be able to make an impact in my community, and the world as a whole. Um, yeah, I maybe shouldn't have done that. Um, so the decision to drop out felt like I was failing. That I will not get my dream, and then also feeling like I was losing a part of myself. Um, However, through this, it got me back into the reason why I did it in the first place. And it was like God telling me, you really don't need to put yourself in this struggle. Yes, it's really great to have all those letters behind your name, because I wanted to be CNS, BCNS, you know what I'm saying? There's another one, it's like CCN. Like, I want to be all of that. Okay, I want to get all the certifications. I want, however, that is not necessary for you to do the main reason why you did this. You wanted to be able for your loved ones to come through in your home with your garden, and they can say, hey, I've been dealing with a cold, or my allergies is acting up, and you not only make a good meal that nourishes their body, but also maybe you incorporate some herbs into that, John. Say, here's a tea blend to help you with your allergies. You know what I'm saying? Here's some mullein to help you with that cough and to help you breathe better, and all of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how this started. And we veered away. I never wanted to be truly a clinical nutritionist. I wanted to learn those tools to be able to serve my community, to be able to help my my community, with the resources to cook better, to cook that aligns with their body, to be able to connect with their body more. And God was like, you don't need grad school right now to do that. I also believe that academia is one way of learning and shouldn't be the only way as well. So I was ready to go to more workshops. Before grad school, I took a herbal course, with Wild Ginger in Maryland. It was an online course, and I learned so much from a lot of gifted folk herbalists, a lot of even people who have their degree in herbalism. I was ready to be practical with it, and put my hands in some herbs, put my hands in and build some more recipes and some foods, to be able to even just like put into practice the knowledge that I've already acquired in the 4 years that I've been in school. I felt like, given school and work, I didn't even have time to put it into practice. So, yeah, yeah. Given the fact that I asked Threads, advice from grad school dropouts, the one grad school dropout that I forgot that is in my life is actually my mother. She is an exemplary nurse, and she pursued her master's degree after getting her bachelor's. And she's been in the nursing field for many decades. She was trained in Jamaica, but she also decided to go back to school and get her bachelor's degree in nursing, and then she wanted and started pursuing her master's. But so many things was happening in her life that she decided to let it go, so she can focus on her health, so she can focus on herself and other things, after the struggle got too hard. And it's so crazy because I was still going back and forth after hearing the message from my spirit guides, from God, that A nudge was when my mom called me randomly. And my mom was like, "Hey, God, I feel so compelled to talk to you and call you, how are you doing?" And I just let her know that, Mom, I feel like I'm gonna quit grad school. She knew about the financial aid suspension. She knew about how rough it was for me having to deal with it. I also dealt with a lot of things during the holiday season that was very hard and rough. I was just having a rough time. And she really loved me up and held me and supported me and told me her reasoning, that and her own experience. I tell my best friend everything, and my best friend has her master's degree in Columbia University, and she also sent support and love. And even with Threads, things started building where I received I think over maybe 100 plus maybe people commenting, and several hundred likes, and of people just doing support, well wishes, everything, through this time. And it made me strong enough to make the decision. Oh, I'm so grateful. As soon as I submitted everything and I let it go, just a huge burden was lifted off my body, and I started to be able to dream again. I started to see more possibilities, more oh my gosh, I can do more workshops. I can create again. I could create content again. How can I, continue to do the work? I had so much fun making my first tea blend. And that's what I want to do. I want to do more workshops like that. I want to be able to share, the tips and the tools that I've learned, and the researches and the resources that I have built through school so far. I was in school for 4 years, baby. Even though I had to do the part-time thing, and I felt like I had maybe 2 more years to go, and that was another thing. I could always go back, when life shifts. I have more time in my day to be able to continue and push towards the last hurrah. I can do that later, you know. Um, Maybe this is time for me to have a new experience, to be able to study the work and the things that I want to study in a new way through people who have been doing this and learning through their environment and through books and through their families and through history. Um, all of that through doing, through experiencing. It's time.
Hey Bridget, it's me, Michael. I'm heavily, 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 heavily considering just dropping out of school because it's starting to feel like freedom to me. I'm still nervous because I just know that I'm going to grieve it. I know that if I make this decision, I'm going to feel some sense of shame of not completing something that I really wanted. But the other side of it is I feel like I can have the opportunity to create again. I had a conversation with God. I had a conversation with they came to me. My people came to me. And they were like, the last thing they said basically was, you have planted so many seeds. It is time for you to go in the house and rest and let the rain, the sun, and the soil do the rest. I want more spaciousness in my life. I want more spaciousness. I'm still in that space of learning. I just kept thinking about all these amazing workshops that I've seen. I will finally have the space to do them. The herbalism workshops, the fruity culinary workshops, and I'm ready to garden and grow and make more tea blends. And I still want to educate, and I still want to write books. And this does not mean that that does not happen anymore. I can't do it anymore. And I'm going to lay my burdens down. I'm going to lay it all the way down. And I'm going to just lean into faith that everything is going to be okay. Truly, 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 truly lean into faith. I'm going to lean into faith.
Okay, so peace, y'all. It's the next day. My battery died, and then it got really cold outside. So I wanted to continue to talk about this decision that I made and my experience through it all. Um, Last time I left you, I told you my overall history of grad school, why I decided to go in the first place, and everything up to now. I wanted to dive in a little bit about some of the reasons why I decided to do this. So the first reason, first and foremost, is that I was dealing with burnout constantly. Like I explained, I would be burnt out. Like first it would be like, once or twice a year, and and then up to like once a quarter, more times within that quarter, of me just trying to juggle my life, my job, and school. And it just took a toll out of me. I just felt like I was always up in arms because I constantly had something to do. Constantly. I felt like I could not sit down. The next thing that made me consider, and my second reason, is the fact that it was towards like November, towards before everything started to like break down. I was burnt out again and dealing with being sick and feeling as if I was doing a great disjustice because at this point I was not able to read the chapters in the book that I needed to read, to be able to watch the videos, to really be able to take in the content. And I was in my applied clinical nutrition class where we're learning about different ailments and how they show up, the symptoms, the reasonings, how you can use nutrition to help with handling and managing those symptoms, and I was only learning just enough to do my assignments. This particular class had a lot of like group work and learning about one disease or condition. I just had one section and I just made sure I knew just enough to complete. And I realized that I've been doing this with every class instead of really taking in the content and really taking in like what I'm learning and sitting with it and understanding it. Some things I remember going in and learning and then forgetting it. And it's not like, oh, yeah, I took, calculus in high school and I don't use that, so I'm going to forget that. Like, it wasn't like that, But I just felt like this isn't something where I can, like, make and go. You know what I mean? Like, art, right? Like, you can learn different techniques in art school, apply it to your own art, but at the end of the day, you create it, you make it what it is. It's a lot of improv and just imagination into it. Whereas when it comes to me, when it comes to the medical field and the way that you're impacting your community members in the medical field, is helping them with their body. And the body is a complex system. All these different ailments and diseases and everything that we're dealing with physically is also very complicated. And I felt like I would be doing a great disservice, just learning enough to pass the class, just enough to pass the class, because I just want for this to be over. I just want to get out of grad school as soon as I can so I can have my life back. So I can do the thing that I said I wanted to do in the first place, which was love up on my family and my friends and nourishing people with good food, good teas and tonics and herbs, helping them with their body and being more harmonious with themselves and their body. And yeah. And I felt like I would be failing. I felt like I would not be a good clinician if I ever decided to go that route, or even a good person, an expert. You know what I'm saying? A good person. And I understand like medical professionals constantly reference books, like they're not going to remember everything, like, stuff like that. Like it's all about studying and making it a lifelong study. But this is my first time getting into grasping into these content, and I really am intentional when it comes to this work, when it comes to the study. And I realized that the intention shifted because of the stress I was under. The last reason is that I realized that no matter how many hacks that I did, no matter how many routines I had, how many shift in schedules, how many body doubling sessions, this life was just not sustainable. In 2024, it started to affect my physical health, and I was tired so much times. So much times. I was getting sick constantly, more sick than I've ever been. And I realized in that year, I was like, here I am learning about integrative health, learning about using the mind, like incorporating the mind, body, and the spirit to wellness. You know what I'm saying? So I could be able to make an impact in my community, in the world in this way. And I can't even do it on myself. Learning about it is making me sick. Something's got to give. If I could give up work and be able to sustain my lifestyle, I would do that and be straight into the study, like no doubt. But because we live in the world that we're living in, I gotta keep my job. I gotta get these bills paid. I gotta be able to sustain the life that I live because I really truly love it, and I deserve it. And unfortunately, school had to give. Unfortunately, I had to let that go. So those were my reasons, because it just was not sustainable anymore. I did all that I could, used all the tools and resources, got all the support that I needed in order for me to make it through. And I made it through 4 years. I made it through, I would say maybe a little over 2/3 of my program. I jam-packed it all. You know what I'm saying? I was studying a lot of things. And yeah, but even in a part-time course load, it was too much. And as I was advancing into different classes, the content is becoming heavier. It needs time and patience to learn. And I just did not have the capacity at all. And yeah, I remember going on Instagram and stumbling upon a reel at this where this black woman was talking about how how stress is like the number one killer. And people are talking about stress resilience and how to be better with handling stress, when really and truly you need to like eradicate it. And it was just a huge stressor. And just, I'm going to be honest, given the fact that I dropped out of the 2 classes in order for me to take care of myself, in order for me to try to get back on medication, and being able to, you know, organize my life to be able to push through and continue the journey. Um, I felt like I got penalized for it. I got penalized for choosing myself. And, you know, I'm so happy I did choose myself at the end. Next thing I want to talk about was the fears, like the opposite side of that. Um, so the first fear that I had was it felt like I was giving up. And I think it's due to me still working through one of the limited beliefs that I have where I feel like I don't complete anything. And this was something that I wanted for such a long time. This was my dream school, my dream program. I was learning all the things and connecting with community that understood and had similar belief systems when it comes to health and wellness as me. And yeah, it became my whole thing. And I felt like I was giving up, especially like I'm a single black femme. I have a really great job, and I'm able to sustain myself. And there are people out here with, in the same programs as me, with children, with, demanding jobs and businesses, and being able to navigate all of that. And I can't even do my little single job in this. I felt so, I hate this word, but I felt inferior. That's the only thing that's coming up right now. And I felt like me dropping out was me giving up on my dream and giving up on the struggle it takes to get to that dream. And I also felt like if I let it go, I would never pick it back up. And I promised myself to complete it. So, that was one of the fears. Yeah. So the second fear was the shame. The shame of me dropping out and people knowing. I fucked up and made it a part of my identity because I was so happy to be a part of it. I was so happy to go back to school and to learn these tools to become an expert in this field and to be able to learn the tools, the resources, techniques to be able to critically think about health and wellness in a way that aligns with my values, and to deepen in my own practice and my wellness practice with myself, and be able to teach others, to be able to help curate their own wellness practices that sustain them. And I don't know. I thought like I wouldn't be able to do that without the degree, without the letters behind my name, without all those certifications and stuff. And I also think because I had such a shitty undergrad experience, it took me long to graduate there. It took me 5 years to graduate undergrad, and I was like majority of the time like depressed and anxious, and I dealt with a lot of like low grades, and I was on the dean's list once, but it was just a lot of struggle in my undergrad experience, and I wanted to shift. That initially made me afraid to go back to school, and I wanted my grad school experience to shift it and shift my belief about me being a student. And in some ways it did, but for it to turn down like this, it just makes me feel a type of way. Anyways, it's just the shame to even announce it, to even make this video, to say that that was my journey, and I let you guys in on my journey on Instagram. I told you guys on my blog. I talked about it with my family, my friends, in my stories. Like, excited, eager, like feeling good, like, and now it's no longer that. It made me feel like, am I an imposter? Am I a liar? Um, but what I'm learning is that's not the case, you know? Yeah. And the last fear was the consequences of paying these student loans early, child. I was like, how am I going to pay these student loans? And especially given what's going on in the news and the government today in the United States, like, I just don't know. But I guess we'll get there when we get there, child. Truly, like, I have no idea. But that was a fear, and a valid fear at that. The last thing I wanted to say is, and share, is, the amount of support that I received and love that I received was absolutely amazing, as well as what's next. So, like I shared in my history, that I received a lot of support from my sorry, there was a dog that scared me. I received a lot of support from my family and friends, but really, like, on Threads, like the Thread community. I shared like, the questions, and some folks chimed in. But when I shared that I did it, I shared a tweet or a thread, and I said, just submitted my withdrawal form, and as of 12:47 a.m., I'm officially a grad school dropout. I'm so fucking happy. If you told me I would drop out of my dream school at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't believe you. I worked so hard to get in and stay in for years. And I just shared my feelings within that thread. And the outpour of love, like, I received, like I said in the beginning, like, hundreds of likes, as well as over 100 comments of people giving advice, sharing their own experience, let me know that I can go back again. It's not the end all be all, and if I want to, and things. So it was just such love. Being able to receive the love and support from digitally, but also, like, my family and my friends, when I shared it on my stories and shared it with a few friends of mine, my decision, I was met with such love and support as well. So I'm so grateful for my people, the people in my life. Now what's next? I told you that this decision felt not only like, for my mental health, but it felt like a spiritual decision as well. And in my spiritual download, I felt, God was trying to tell me that I need to focus on my well-being and resting and learning how to rest, specifically to focus on my creativity, and creating again, and just working. Literally, like, this is the time for me to explore my creativity again and diving into that, and resting and living more slowly, and being able to be present and just enjoying life's simple pleasures. So that's what I'm doing. Let me see. Certain things I am doing is just making sure that I have a great self-care routine. I love to go to the gym, y'all. Like, it really is a mental release for me. I feel like I can focus better. I can be more productive, um, just by being a part of um, a routine. So I'm working on that. I'm also like learning to, self-care in the form of like meeting new people, exploring new spaces in my new environment, which has been really great. The next thing that I have been focused on is creating art again. I feel like at my job, I am a content creator. You know what I'm saying? I create content. But it's for someone's dreams, for someone's visions, for someone's mission and things. And I just miss creating content just to create. It is my art form. I love to share, knowledge. I love to find out ways to improve my video editing, improve how I can display and express a message, and also to showcase, like, what's going on in life. I want to share the knowledge that I have acquired, as well as the resources and the tools that I have acquired in the past 4 years of grad school. And I also want to continue to study, so, beyond academia, and finding other ways to continue my practice. And I want to share those with you as well. And that is my art form. That is my expression to the world. And last thing is work. Like, I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to, capitalism is a thing, y'all, but just taking care of myself, and also learning how to have better boundaries at work, and having a better work-life balance, and taking those times and moments of rest, and things of that nature. And it being month 3, it's been such a great experience so far. So I'm super duper freaking grateful. Thank you so much, y'all, for tuning in with me. I appreciate you guys listening. And yeah, share below, like, have you ever dropped out of grad school? Have you ever thought about it? Like, if you have your own experiences, if you're currently going through wanting to make the decision but not knowing what it is, like, share what's going on in your mind. Or just like, like, and just share your feelings of, was there a time that you had to make a difficult decision to release something, and you didn't know if it was the right thing, and what happened? Did you make the decision? Did you not make the decision? And what happened after that? So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.